J. Mitchell that was used during the Second World War in the Pacific Theater. It is armed with about 7 machine guns and can carry over 3,000 pounds of bombs. This particular plane is special because it was used in the 1970 movie Catch-22. This here is a B-17 G-Mile. It's probably one of the most iconic bombers ever, and most certainly one of the most iconic from World War II. What's special about this here bomber is that it was General Eicher's personal transport plane. You can tell this by the fact that there is a lazy chair in the nose and curtains on the waist gunners. Behind me is a mock-up of a forward operating base from the Vietnam War. There are several different types of helicopters on the field that were used during the war, such as Bell Hueys and Cobra attack helicopters, along with a mock-up of what the base would look like. This behind me is a B-29 Super Fortress. This plane was designed to phase out the older B-17 towards the end of World War II. This plane is pretty cool because it has much better pressurized cabin for the crew. It's also one of the first planes equipped with remote-controlled turrets to fend off enemy fighters. One of the most famous B-29s was the Enola Gay, which was the first B-29 to drop the atomic bombs on Hiroshima. Next to me are a collection of Soviet fighters. This one here happens to be a MiG-15, and down the line it's a MiG-17, MiG-19, and MiG-21. These were the first generation of Soviet jet fighters produced from the early to late 50s. Behind me is FA-6 Sabre. This was the first U.S.-built aircraft that had swept wings. Swept wings are a constant for all jets these days. These type of fighters fought in the Korean War, and they mainly fought against the MiG-15, and by the end of the war they had a kill to shot down ratio of 10 to 1. Behind me is an F-4 Phantom. This was the U.S. Air Force's frontline fighter from the mid to late Vietnam era and afterwards. What's special about it is this was a fighter designed to specifically only carry missiles. It was not armed with guns or cannons initially because they believed that air battles would be carried out with missiles, but they soon learned that guns were still valuable. So they took these lessons and they then developed the F-14 Tomcat down here. The F-14 Tomcat was one of the largest planes of its time, and it's still quite a big bird. It is a 2-seater Navy craft, and it was special because it was armed. It had the capability of carrying a nuclear air-to-air missile. This is a T-38. This was a trainer aircraft developed in the 60s and is still used to this day. If you ever join the Air Force, this will be the first high-performance jet fighter you will fly, and will help you get an idea of how sensitive modern aircraft are. Behind me is a B-52 Stratofortress. This plane was designed in the 60s and is still in service today. It has the capability to hold 100 500-pound bombs or 50,000 pounds of bombs. It is a very large plane, and we are trying to modify it today still. This here behind me is a Minuteman II nuclear intercontinental ballistic missile. It was one of our early nuclear missiles that was designed to protect the country from a nuclear attack from the Soviet Union. SR-71 Blackbird, the fastest plane ever made. This plane was a U.S. Airplane that was in service during the Cold War, and it was designed to fly high enough and fast enough to escape enemy jets and interception missiles. This plane would fly over enemy territory taking pictures, and then would be able to fly back and be able to then look at those foes and gather intelligence on the enemy. This here is a D-21. It was a supersonic drone that was launched from the back of the SR-71. It was designed to be a remote-controlled drone that would be an extension of the SR-71. However, it was a very big failure as it caused the crash of an SR-71 and almost crashed a B-52.